Hey everybody, welcome to We Run on Reruns. I'm Amanda and I'm here with my brother Eric.
How you guys doing? We are here with our Stranger Things podcast and we are into season 3. This is chapter 2, The Mallrats, and just to be clear, season 5 is well underway at this point. It is full force. The internet is full of all sorts of fun spoilers out there, but we're not going to bring any. So if you are interested in kind of following along, you won't be spoiled with any season 5 stuff here. If you want to find it, there's plenty of it out there, though.
And we will get there.
We're
excited when we will get to that point because we're all caught up on the episodes, and then we have thoughts, a lot of thoughts that it's hard for us not to talk about, but it'll be good. I'm really looking forward to, Eric, like getting back to those episodes and rewatching them and taking, notes and kind of reviewing that together.
Yes.
Because I think when you rewatch something, you kind of go in with a different lens too. Like you're looking for, like, you obviously know what's coming, but you might notice details in a different way. I know that's what we've been experiencing in this rewatch, which has been really fun. So
yeah, and I think for any of the Stranger Things fans who have not watched season 5 yet and who want to watch season 5, I strongly suggest running the entire gamut, like going from the beginning of season 1, all the way through. Like, there's not that many episodes in Stranger Things. I think there's going to be 43 in total. When you think of it in that context, the amount of callbacks that they do, the amount of references that are made throughout this entire show, it's worth going back through and finding some of those things so that it means a little bit more because you just saw it recently, as opposed to having to remember back. Literally, season 1 was almost 10 calendar years ago.
It's crazy.
It is.
Yeah.
It is crazy.
It is crazy that a show that doesn't have that many episodes has been running for as long as it has, and we all watch so many different things that it would be easy to miss some of those details. So I totally agree with that. And so, just to give a quick reminder of where we were at when we left things off with the opener of season 3.
Yes.
We get a glimpse into the Russian military effort to access a gate into the Upside Down. Then we are 1 year into the future with the kids where Dustin is returning from summer camp. We had Steve and Robin. They're working at the ice cream shop at the mall. And Nancy is trying to score a job at the town paper. Or she has like an internship, I guess. That's how I'm reading it anyway. And Hopper is struggling with, he was struggling in the last episode with Mike and Eleven, making out at his house all the time, and was attempting to have a heart-to-heart with them. But meanwhile, we also had Will sensing that something is wrong again in Hawkins. And we also saw that at the very end of the episode, Billy got dragged down that staircase where there had been rats exploding and this like spiraling energy that we know it's got to be the Mind Flayer guys. Like this is what's happening, they just haven't. Yeah,
what are we doing here?
We
know what this is. We know.
Yes.
Although, I mean, you have to understand, even if you know that all that exists.
Yeah.
Right. You still are not going to go to that as the thing that, obviously that's got to be what's going on here.
Yeah. Yeah, because we also had the magnets dropping. There are all these just weird things that are happening, and everyone's just sort of trying to, hey, these might be just coincidences, which we get into a little bit more in this episode where we're taking a closer look at all of that.
Yeah. Now, I'll say this. I feel like, and maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like season 3 catches a lot of flack. I feel that's the case. I feel like when I've talked to friends of mine, people don't like the Starcourt Mall and the just the whole, I think it's a very significant change of pace. You've gone from the kids and the Mind Flayer and, everything with learning what the upside down is and all of that. And just kind of like this small group. And now it's like, well, it's not the Department of Energy anymore. Now the Russians are involved. Right. Okay. All right. And now they're a little older and they're not really operating like a team as much in these early episodes. And I go, I don't know, there's something about these episodes I really like. And
you got the hormones flying around.
Yeah,
these are teenagers at this point. 11's totally, she's hanging out at the mall.
Yeah. We were talking before about Billy, and you were mentioning Billy as in his state that he's in this episode. And I said, I wanted to save it for the podcast. So what I wanted to say about Billy is they could have easily just written Billy's character off.
I like Billy's character.
Max,
I like this.
Max at the end of season 2 with the bat, like, stay away from me and my friends. That could have been it. That we'd just done with Billy at that point.
That's true.
Absolutely. Billy at this point could have just been another family member that never gets seen, right? Mm-hmm. However, they brought him back. And I love that they brought him back, because who else are you going to go to like be the vessel at this point? Billy's such an excellent choice because people are already not liking him. So if you already have this like ready-made villain and you're going to make him the guy that everything is attached to, oh man, like this is a great choice of character for that to happen to, because they could have easily just said, nah, we're good. We're done with him now.
Yeah, it's true. And I really am enjoying these episodes, and I like, watching Billy's experience with all this. It's pretty crazy. So,
last week I remember saying like, oh, I enjoyed the episode, but then when we broke it down, it was like, well, I don't like what anybody did. I don't. Yeah,
they were not likable. No,
like I don't like what any of the characters did, but in a whole, I thought the episode was pretty decent. Now, I ended up knocking my rating back quite a bit. That's right. The storytelling was good. And I am now, after going through 2 seasons of this, clearly seeing the pattern. Like, it's not like Friends. We also have a Friends podcast. If you didn't know, you can go check that out too. Yes. It's up
same
twice a week.
podcast, different episodes.
That's right. Same. Fair enough. But those episodes, when we do our ratings for those, are all over the map. They're all over the map. These series tend to build. And they do a successful job building, and the fans clearly agree with the build because they start low and they get to high late. Early season episodes always start low. These have been, the first one was a 7.8. No.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. The first episode of this season was the lowest episode to date. Oh, except for the
I was just going to say, outside of the weird one.
I don't even want to count that into the pantheon of Stranger Things episodes, but it does.
But I hear what you're saying. The one where 11 is away and she's hanging out with Collie. That one was, it was just like a 6, right? That one.
It was a 6.
A 6.
6.0.
Yeah. So, no, it's true. Both of the first 2 seasons, they kind of a little bit slow to get started. They do a lot of, stage setting first episode, and then it builds, and then fans seem to love it by the end. And we've been on that same track.
I would say it looks like by the 3rd or 4th episode, fans are involved. Fans are getting involved. So I'll be very interested to hear how people feel about this episode, because I like this one a lot.
Yeah.
I really do like this one.
And I really do stand by, kind of similar to what I was saying earlier, that I think rewatching something, you get a different experience. So I don't know if maybe the first time you see this, because it is a bit different than the first 2 seasons, it might just be a little bit more off-putting. But then in the rewatch, when you watch the whole thing as a complete story, it's like, oh, you know what? that really has its place in this world, and it really does add value in that way. So maybe at the rewatch, let us know what you guys think. Like the first time through, did you have a hard time with it? Is rewatching it, or you having a better experience, or maybe this is your first time watching it? Let us know what you think.
Well, and there are just elements throughout this entire episode that I feel are moments that I look back on and go, yeah, that's what made this show great.
Yeah.
And they happen in this episode. And when I see that, it just, it connects me to what Stranger Things is in my mind, personally. So let's go.
Let's get into this. So this is chapter 2, The Mallrats, not to be confused with The Mallrats, the movie with
no
Silent
that's
Bob
very different, although not that different.
And Jay, that came out after. So I was looking at that, I'm like, wait, was the Mallrats out at this time? No, it wasn't. That wasn't until the 90s.
Well, let's be clear. The Stranger Things episode came out after. The Mallrats movie came out first, but this was set before the Mallrats episode.
So they are not referencing the movie. Anyway, I just had to point that out.
Are they not? Okay. They might be.
So that's true. So we had this really wild opening scene with Billy running up the stairs, the same staircase that we saw him get dragged down in the last episode. He's running up and he's hustling to get to his car and get the hell out of there. And he's getting to a payphone all frantic, and he's trying to call 911. And he starts having these crazy, flashback, flashes in his head. You could tell they're painful. He's holding his head and it's like these flashes of lights, and he's getting visions of what happened to him. And then he's flashed back into what looks like the Upside Down. And so apparently he was there at some point, and he's now remembering it. And there is this whole group of shadows in the distance walking toward him. And he's just screaming, "What do you want?" And you can tell they're people. It's not like, it's not the Demogorgon. It's not demo dogs. There is just this whole group walking toward him, and he's shouting, "What do you want? Hey, I said, what do you want?" And then you realize they're all him. It's all Billy. So it's like watching a whole group of yourself walking toward you. Really creepy. And he's looking at himself, and he's just in shock. And that's when we get the credits. Like, what? Wow. Okay. I did remember this piece a bit. When I saw the group of shadows, I'm like, oh, they're all him. But
I remember him being the one that all this happens to. I don't know that I remember that specifically, but yeah. Yeah. I'm just glad that they chose him to be the one that has this happen to him, because if they did it with any of the other characters, you don't need to now pull Dustin into the Upside Down, or pull Jonathan into the Upside Down, or pull Will back into the Upside. Do something different. And this is different without impacting the core gang. So I really like it.
Well, and what's interesting, what I'm thinking about now is, what's different about Billy's character is he doesn't really seem to have people who have his back at all in his life.
Nope.
He doesn't anyone who's going to be out looking for him, or necessarily being like, dude, you okay? You seem a little weird. He doesn't really have anyone that's caring for him in his life. And so while this is happening to him, that's going to be what, you're looking out for. Who's noticing these changes?
There are people that notice, but not he doesn't have
a support
the biggest
group,
support.
though.
He doesn't have a real big support group. No.
Right. So after the credits, then we were with 11 at the cabin, and she's pacing at the deck, and she's going inside to dial the phone to try to reach Mike. And then this is where Mrs. Wheeler picks up, and she's calling for Mike. He's answering it in the basement, and she's saying, it's 9:32. Where are you? And he's like, well, I can't see you today. It's my Nana. She's very sick. And Eleven's like,
so bad.
But Hopper said she's okay, and it was a false alarm. And Mike's like, well, yeah, she took a turn for the worse. We think she might die. And that's when his mom, so Mrs. Wheeler is listening in on this. Anyone who grew up with the landline has been here before, where someone else is like on the other line, like listening into the call. Yeah, we've all done this or had this done to us if you are of this generation.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
And so he's like, what the heck, Mom? Because she's saying, well, what? Is Nana okay? Like, did Nana call? What's going on? And he's just like, Mom, get off the phone. What the heck, Mom? So Mike is continuing with this story. He's saying he has to go to the nursing home. And, Eleven's just wanting to get together with him. She's wanting him to come over after and asking, do you lie? No, friends don't lie. And he uses his mom as an excuse to get off the phone. And 11 is then really upset. Obviously, she can tell that with even her minimal social awareness, it's very obvious that Mike is lying to her about this. And so,
well, she knows something's wrong. There's something is not right.
Right.
Yeah.
And so she's
Meanwhile, Hop is celebrating the day.
Oh, as 11 is slamming the door and Hopper's asking how she is, because obviously it's clear how she is. He is just sitting there eating his cereal, looking just ecstatic. He is then singing on his way to work. And it's this song by Jim Croce called You Don't Mess Around with Jim that's playing in the background, which is just so perfect. And it's
perfect.
This scene reminds me of actually the Dude, where he's like singing in his car, like in The Big Lebowski, like slamming his hand on the top of his on the roof of his car. But either way, it's great. But you know what? I also do not like this. I am very upset. I was irritated as heck with Hopper here. I'm just like, Hopper.
Oh,
while it's a hilarious scene, I'm just like, dude, you are like way too happy about 11's misery here. It was upsetting. I did not like it.
I understand Hopper being upset about the situation that he had been in, where Mike was over all the time, and it's too much. And while I will agree that that's way too much for two like younger teenagers to be hanging out together like that, there's adults in play here that can stop this. Yeah. You can just say, don't come by. Now, part of this issue that Hopper has created himself is that he doesn't want 11 to get out and be anywhere. She has to stay like behind closed doors. So because she has to stay at the cabin, there's only one place for them to go. And so you've kind of created this environment all on your own.
Yeah.
But I can appreciate him being happy for his small victory in having a single day where Mike is not coming by the house. And
we did agree that Mike was being a total jerk.
Oh, so he was the worst.
Yeah, when you saw how Mike was and how he was laughing in Hopper's face, it's like, okay, that piece I get with Hopper being excited about Mike.
Absolutely. I 100% agree.
Yeah.
And Mike paints it, by the way, in this episode that Hopper snapped. And it's like, well, maybe he has, but maybe you pushed him to snap too. Yeah. This is not a one-way street. That being said, it is a little off-putting as to just how excited he is.
It's weird.
It's a little, like, to me, it's not him driving in the car. That's fine. It's this next scene where he shows up and he's celebrating with Joyce and he's talking to her about wanting to go celebrate, go out to Enzo's and let's do this. And it's not a date.
Right.
It's not a date. I'm just going through this is what's happening next. He sets up this whole thing where Joyce thinks that he followed the plan.
Yes, that's the piece that
and he's like, well, I ad-libbed a little bit.
Right.
It's like, you didn't yell, did you? Well, you know.
Left out the
let's
Nana
go out
part.
to Enzo's.
Yeah.
Yeah, left all of it out. He left out all the details. Mm-hmm. But he wants to set up not a date at Enzo's with Joyce. And so she agrees, not a date, and they haggle on what time and who's driving and all that fun stuff. Mm-hmm. And then Hopper gets called away by protesters down at City Hall. So he's got to leave, but they've set this not a date to go to Enzo's for later in the episode or later in time.
Yes, yeah. And he trips over a magnet when he's leaving.
Yep.
Yes.
And that's when Joyce finds all these magnets that are laying on the ground. He's like, oh, clean up on aisle 5. And she goes back and tries to put the magnets back on, but they're not working. And this is now the second time that she's seen magnets not working.
Yeah. And it's one thing, right, to see, okay, magnets on the ground, someone could have knocked it off, but the fact that you can't stick it back on, what is that?
That does seem a little odd. So then we bounce over to Nancy, who is spilling coffee as she's trying to do two things at once. And she's catching flack from Bruce. I had to look up his name. That's his name.
Oh, the guy with the terrible hair? That's how I identified him. I'm like, what? The jerk with the horrible haircut.
His name is Bruce, and he's played. I kept thinking that I recognized him, and I do because I recognize his dad. He's played by Jake Busey.
Oh my God! Oh my God! Wow!
Right?
Yes!
I mean, he looks just like his dad.
Wow! That's wild. He does look just like him. Good catch.
I'm like, why do I know this guy? And I don't. I mean, Jake Busey has been in a lot of things at this point.
Oh.
I looked at his IMDb. He's been in a number of things.
Okay.
But I thought I recognized him, but I didn't. I recognized his dad from all these 80s movies that I had seen. Yes, from forever ago.
Wow. That is crazy and good catch. What else has this guy been in? Do you remember?
Oh, he was in, God, what's the name of that space movie? I'm going to catch all sorts of hate for this. The Star Wars spinoff. It's not Star Wars though. It's
Spaceballs?
Yeah, was that it? Spaceballs? It might be that.
With Rick Moranis?
I feel like that might be
where it's like
it's
the Baki. It's like making fun of stuff.
I don't really know. I'm just making stuff up.
Sorry, I put Eric on the spot here. He didn't have it pulled up. But
it was something like that. Okay. I did not have it pulled up. Hold on.
This guy.
Hold on.
Okay.
Hold on. We're here.
Okay. We're in the moment.
We're going
down.
We might as well just find it. Here he is. Oh no, I had it wrong. Okay. It's not Spaceballs. I thought it was the spoof movie. It's not. It's the other space franchise, Starship Troopers.
Oh.
He's in that.
Okay.
He's in Enemy of the State, Tomcats.
Okay. Enemy of the State.
Let's
the Will
see
Smith
here.
Movie. Okay. All right.
Yep.
Okay.
And I can.
Nice.
I'm showing you my phone now. I can just keep on scrolling. He's been in a bunch of stuff.
Cool.
Has he been the lead in any of these things? I don't think so.
Okay, interesting. Okay. Well,
but he's been in them.
That's great because I just identified him as the dude with the worst haircut ever. Says
I had to look him up, and I'm like, this guy.
Yeah.
This guy. Know this guy.
Well, he's saying careful there, Nancy Drew to Nancy, which
yeah.
I also like that call to just the moment. No, I don't. Kids these days would not understand know who Nancy Drew is, but I remember mom talking
that's
about
a great
Nancy Drew growing up. She loved those books, and that's
it's listen. She's Nancy. She's wanting to become an investigative journalist.
It fits.
That nickname is
it's
spot
actually
on.
I'm like, hey, thanks for the compliment. Nancy Drew was pretty cool. So
I would
that's not the worst
I would
thing.
Be okay with that too.
He could have said a lot worse, but it's just the way he said it, and he's just being a jerk.
Of course it is.
And of course then Nancy is then going into our boss. Because she's looking, as she's overflowing the coffee, it's because she's distracted looking at the sticky note where she had taken the message about the rats. So she's then asking her boss if another girl can grab lunch today because she's been having girl problems. Because, of course, none of the guys in the office can possibly pick up lunch. It has to be one of the other girls who is working there. Love that. But she says she's been having girl problems, which is great because then her boss looks extremely uncomfortable right away. And this is immediately a ticket for her to leave work. So she grabs Jonathan and they are off to investigate the rat lead. And Jonathan, though, is very hesitant. He's worried about getting fired. He's kind of like, I don't know, Nancy, should we be doing this? And she's all, let's ask for forgiveness, not permission, Jonathan. Let's get in the car. And so Nancy is wanting to take this risk, and he is just not a risk taker. He's very risk adverse.
He is. And the other thing is, this is the opportunity that we see, okay, she doesn't care. And her answer is, if we get fired, we don't want to work here anyway.
Right.
Like, nobody wants to be here anyway. Right. This is a crappy job. So it'd be great if it's good for us. Yeah. But if it's not good for us, what is the point of being here?
Although it's kind of like, again, kind of thinking about our Friends episodes that we cover where Monica gets the head chef job and she's treated horribly, and it's kind of like, well, why is she even there? Why doesn't she just leave? But it's also in her field. It's the opportunity that she's been waiting for. So Nancy in this, I mean, obviously this is not a high, she's at the bottom rung here of her climbing up the ladder into a role that she wants. But I feel like the good thing is she's in a field that she's interested in. So that is,
she's in the field, but this is way more like when Monica gets the job at the cafe that's like the 50s diner. Right, because she's not really doing any of the stuff she wants to do. She's not really reporting. She's getting coffee for people.
Yeah, so they're off and
But that being said,
they're going to go check that out. Meanwhile, we have Dustin arriving then at Scoops Ahoy, and I love the scene. He's looking for Steve.
This scene, I have seen people online say this scene has an entire fan base all to itself, where Steve comes out of the back of Scoops Ahoy and sees Dustin for the first time this season. And the two of them have this whole exchange that goes down with Robin just watching on going, what is happening in front of me? And it's great. Yeah. It is a peak season 3 scene.
I guess they came up with this handshake like 20 minutes before they filmed, and because Steve jumped out from the back and Dustin is like, you got the job, and Steve is just like ecstatic about getting the job too, because he needed the work, and so they're just really cute and excited to see each other. They do this like little handshake thing, and Robin's watching on saying, how many children are you friends with, to Steve? And
which I always find funny, because like it implies that Steve is so much older than Dustin. I feel
like at that age you feel those couple years, right? Like people who are even seniors in high school versus freshmen, you feel like you're on a different planet, right? So I think that's
it's true. It's true, but like let's say Steve is a senior in high school, and at youngest, Dustin and the guys are
they're
like
only a couple
graders.
Years younger. Yeah.
Like it's only like 4 years. This is not wild, but it does feel that way when you're in high school.
It does. Yeah. And
but I don't know that I would refer to 8th graders as children. Maybe I would.
At that age, you probably would, right? It's like, oh, these little kids. Yeah. So now we have Steve and Dustin, and they're catching up, and Dustin's eating some ice cream and in one of the booths at what is it called again? Scoops Ahoy. Sorry, guys. Yeah. And he's telling him about Susie. And she said kissing is better without teeth. Oh.
No, that's an interesting statement.
Okay, we're just going to move right past that.
But this is the second time that he's been questioned, because Lucas was questioning this as well, and Steve was like, hotter than Phoebe Cates? Come on. Like, really?
Well,
is she really?
And Steve,
well, according to Dustin, she
Steve
is.
is all like, wow, that's great, man. And, they're first, Dustin is mumbling and then shouting, I interrupted a secret Russian communication, because he's trying to get this across to Steve, and he's not hearing this at all. So he's like, keep it down. So Steve, we could be true American heroes. You could have all the ladies you want and more. And, Dustin's basically just asking for Steve's help here with the translation. And,
which is funny, because I don't feel like Steve is the guy to go to for the translation help.
You think he would have gone to Mr. Clark or something, but
no, he's not going to go to an adult. But and this is where I feel like Dustin and Steve's relationship is tighter than people want to make it sound. And obviously, as we go through all the seasons, that certainly gets to be more and more obvious, which is part of why this show's great. The Dustin and Steve connection. But you would think like, well, why wouldn't Dustin just go to Mike and Will and Lucas with this? Well, they've all kind of burned him already in his eyes. Whether they did or didn't, and I would argue only really Mike did. Like Will and Lucas hung out for a while. Like, what do you really want from them?
Well,
he then chooses to go to Steve.
And then we have 11 showing up at Max's house, and she wants to talk. I love how she just shows up. Hi. Can we talk?
So weird. Max is just skateboarding out front, and then she just runs into 11, and it's like, whoa. Hi.
And that's when Max is immediately like, listen, boyfriends lie all the time, because 11 is looking for a girl that she can talk with about boys and about her issues with Mike, because, again, 11 knows that Mike is lying and that he's up to something. So, or that something at least is going on that she's unaware of, and she is right about that. So now we're kind of bouncing back and forth between scenes with the girls and scenes with the boys, which I love. This kind of sequence where it's like, you see the boys. Yeah.
Well, and I love how Lucas is like the relationship master, because he's been dating Max for all these times. And he's like, oh yeah, listen, she's broken up with me like 5 times, but I fight my way back in.
I know.
And so he's trying to teach Mike what he's got to do to earn Elle's trust back. Meanwhile, like you said, it was a great line. Friends don't lie, but boyfriends lie all the time. And so now that Mike is a boyfriend, that puts him in a different category, which means he might lie to you. And she says, you treat him like garbage, and if he doesn't fix this, you dump his ass.
Well, she's saying he treated you like garbage.
And that's where we get to.
She's like, well, he treated you like garbage, so give him a taste of his own medicine. And 11's just like, give him medicine? Yeah.
Give him the medicine. Yeah.
So, it's really funny, because Max has her back right away. She's like, oh yeah, we're going to get to the bottom of this, and we're going to figure this out together. And Will, meanwhile, is kind of in the background as Mike is talking to Lucas, and Will's just like, hey guys, I'm still here. And he's calling up the stairs because they were playing D&D and then got totally swept up into this girl conversation. So yeah.
They were setting up for a game of D&D. And they're having this whole girl conversation, and Will's like, I'm almost done. I've almost got the game set up. And then they're off to go to the mall or whatever to fix this. And Will's like, I'm still here. I'm like, oh, Will.
Yeah.
Poor Will.
But he does go along with them, as we'll see.
He does.
But we then have this scene with what I'll refer to as the cougars at the pool, where this group of women, they are all just waiting for Billy again, counting down the moments. And then Mrs. Wheeler first spots him, and she sees that he's going into the locker room. So she gets up to follow him because she wants to have a quick chat with him about not showing up the night before. And she sees his back turned toward her, kind of just facing the corner. And she's like, Billy, I understand if you're angry with me. I just wanted to explain why I didn't show up last night. It's not you. I have a family and I can't do anything to hurt them. And you just see Billy, like, in his mind, he's imagining knocking her out. And I think with all of his own, the control that he still has over his body, he just turns around and yells at her to stay away from him, because he doesn't want to hurt her. I think that's what's happening here, is he's like saying, just get away from me, because he envisions what could possibly happen. And before,
and the way they cut this, it makes it look like he's absolutely just destroyed Mrs. Wheeler. Like he's just smashed her face against the wall.
Oh yeah.
And then it like snaps back to reality.
Yes.
And so he's having these hallucinations, but the way they're shooting this and the way we are watching it through him,
right,
it appears as though that is what's happened.
Absolutely. Like first
And then we
watch,
go, oh wait, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
First watch, you're thinking he just killed her. Like Mrs. Wheeler is now dead in this back room, but no. And then he's leaving this back area or this locker room, and his vision is all crazy. Everything is intensified and glitching out. It's like he's having an insane acid trip or something, and it's terrifying. And like everything, you realize, at least this is where I'm starting to think, oh my God, it's because he's out in this sunshine and it hates the heat, right? So he's glitching out because he's infected with the Mind Flayer and not realizing it. And, now we're back with Dustin and Steve listening to these Russian tapes in the back of Scoops Ahoy. And because obviously Steve has he's missing out on all of his work. This is during his work hours, I'm assuming. So Robin is coming into the back saying, you guys are being extremely loud. Like she can hear everything that they're saying and is repeating it back. And she's like, well, I want to help you guys. And I love how then she goes into speaking Pig Latin, and I think it was Russian.
Right.
But she wants to join in.
And her answer,
listen, they're both
her answer is
working here. So.
Listen, I'm bored.
Yes.
I don't actually care about helping. I don't want any credit.
Yeah.
I'm bored.
Yes.
I just want to help because it'll give me something to do.
Yes.
So, that's her whole thought process. And at this point too, I'll say on the rewatch, I don't know that I anticipated that Robin would be as big a deal in this cast,
right,
as she is.
Yeah.
I kind of thought this was a character that we would know while Steve was working here, but wouldn't really hang out with the gang long term.
Yeah. Yeah. And I like the introduction of Robin. Yeah.
Yeah. It's somewhere after, like, we only meet her in the last episode. And then in this episode, she starts helping out with the group. And I'm like, maybe she will hang around. Like maybe she is going to be part of this group in the same way that they added Max to the crew the season before. We'll see. And I'm so glad that they did.
Yeah, same. And then we're with Jonathan and Nancy at the Driscoll's house. So this is where we have this old lady inviting them in. And this whole scene, Eric, where she's like, yeah, just come into my house and let's go to the basement together. I'm thinking, okay, I don't care how like old and helpless this lady looks. I don't know if I'm following a stranger into their basement. I don't know. Maybe times have changed, but I would not be doing
this. Yeah, times have changed a little. I would also...
I mean, they were together, strength in numbers, I guess, but who knows who else is down there? I'm just saying.
Well, I guess I would also make the argument that if Nancy is trying to be an investigative journalist...
Yeah,
that's the least of her concerns. Like, she's going to be going into places that are not safe all the time.
And they've been in the upside down. So I guess like relatively speak, going into someone's basement.
Really, no problem.
Sure. And this old lady's looking at them too. And she's like, you guys seem pretty young, right? And
we get that all the time.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So, although I must say, Eric, just a side note on the ages, I think it is pretty funny when you see all these, now they have all these AI videos of like the cast when they first started like holding the hand of how how they look now, which it's gotten out of control to me. I'm like, okay. But I love the one with Jonathan because he looks the same. I'm like, how is Jonathan?
I think both Nancy and Jonathan look very similar. I think Steve looks a little older, but not that much. It's just like style and stuff like that.
It's just kind of funny.
It's the younger kids that are like, whoa. Like, specifically, the change that they made in 11.
Oh, yes.
Because she starts...
There's a lot of comments on that, but yeah.
Well, but she starts as this very small, shaved head, petite girl. And now she's like, 22 or whatever she is, 21 years old. Like, it changed. There's significant change.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And then we have... So they're going down to this basement. And they're seeing all these busted open fertilizer bags with these teeth marks in them. And this lady's asking, she's like, have you ever seen this with rats eating fertilizer? And she thinks it's rabies. And
reasonable expectation, by the way. Like, what else are you going to come up with?
Yeah.
Not going to come up with Mind Flayer.
No, but I love how she just casually mentions how she caught one. And she's saying, I have the little bastard in this cage on the other side of my basement. So she brings him over there and you just see this blanket over a cage where there is just squealing and screeching and banging around inside of it. It's like, okay, this does not seem like a normal rat. Something is happening in here, but that's all we get in this scene because now we're back with Hopper. And he's at the city hall with Larry Klein, who is the new mayor, and talking about all these protesters outside because apparently they lost their jobs at the mall because of him.
Do you know who the mayor is played by?
Who is that?
His name's, I'm going to pronounce it wrong.
I recognize him, but...
Carrie Ewells, I think, is how you might say it. He is the guy that was like Robin Hood in Robin Hood Men in Tights.
Oh my God! Yes.
I also recognize him a lot from Psych because I love that show. He was
you did love Psych. Okay.
He was like a premier villain against Sean in Spike. And Psych, not Spike.
Yeah. But no, he's Robin Hood, though. That's
Robin Hood Men in Tights, I think, is the one where people most know him from. But he's been in a ton of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he's like, well, they don't have a permit, do they? And so he's telling Hopper to get rid of them, and he's acting pretty obnoxious here about it. Hopper's not sold on this idea, and this is where, like, all things seem to be pointing back to this mall, right? So it's like, we have the kids all hanging out at the mall, we have Steve has his job at the mall, we have 11 who's going to be at the mall as well pretty soon. It just seems like that is like the central touchstone.
It is definitely the setting that a lot of these things are being connected to, for sure. Mm-hmm. Aside from this Rats storyline, and aside from Billy, the mall seems to be the very popular place, and it's clearly new. Mm-hmm. And that's where the mayor is saying things like, listen, like, we have all these protesters out front because they're all mad that I raised their taxes to help pay for the mall, or their property tax now costs more or whatever because of having this mall here, or lots of smaller businesses were put out of business because of this mall being here. And there's a lot of people that are protesting it. All the kids seem to love the mall. Don't blame them because that was like peak hangout place back in the 80s and 90s.
You're right. I think I misspoke. They didn't lose their jobs at the mall because of him. They lost their jobs.
Because of the mall.
The small businesses, right?
Yeah.
Because the mall was constructed. No, thank you for pointing.
But
that out,
Yeah, but the mayor is trying to get them to just be removed, and Hopper's like, listen, like they have the right to protest. Like you can't have me just come in and take them out. And he finds a loophole. Well, he finds a loophole where like they don't have a permit to be protesting in this place, and so Hopper can go out and then arrest them because they're not operating within the permit. And so Hopper says, listen, I can go do that if you want me to, but this is not going to help your re-election campaign. And he's like, well, it doesn't matter. He's like, in a few days, it'll be the 4th of July, and I'm going to throw this town the biggest party they've ever seen, and everyone's only going to remember that. And he's not really wrong. As a politician, these things seem to work themselves out. People forget about the things they're angry about, and they like to see the things that they like.
It is, here's something shiny over here. Stare at the shiny object. So we have then Max bringing 11 to the Starcourt Mall to shop. Let's get our mind off these boys. And so 11 is immediately like, there's too many people here, and this is against the rules. So she knows she's not supposed to be, like, it sounds like she's cool to just hang out with her friends in the neighborhood, but she's really not supposed to be going out in these big public places. So Max is just like, well, come on. You have superpowers. What's the worst that could possibly happen? And these are just famous last words, Max. I mean, hello. But then we have the boys walking right by them, but they don't see them. So Lucas is telling Mike to get something that says, I'm sorry. And Mike is like, it literally says, I'm sorry. No, Mike. He's being a bit dense here. It doesn't actually say I'm sorry. He's just trying to get a gift to apologize. So Max is telling 11 to try on clothes that make her feel like herself, because she's really never, had a variety of outfits. She's just had what Hopper has given her or what Mike has given her to wear. That's why she's just, in a lot of flannel, which I'm looking at myself. I'm like, I'm in flannel right now too. But listen, she wants to, it might not suit her. So Max is giving her, the idea of just going out and find something that makes you feel like yourself, which is great.
How do I know what looks like me? And she says, well, you just try a bunch of stuff on, and then you figure out, well, what's something that you like? Not what Hopper likes, not what Mike likes, but you.
Yeah.
And this is my second favorite pairing that they've put together in this show. I love in season 2 introducing the combo of Steve and Dustin.
Yes.
In season 3, it is just as important to introduce Max and 11.
Yeah, I like that they became friends. Yeah.
Yes. Putting them together and having them like team against the boys is such a great idea.
And it makes perfect sense for this age.
Yes.
Like, she needs to be hanging out with her girl. Yeah, and that's what's happening here. That tends to be the most important thing at this age. There might be boys that you're hanging out with, but no.
That's right. And but anyway, we jump out of the mall though here for a second.
Then we're with
we
Joyce,
go to Mr. Clark's house.
I love this.
He's painting the little figurines.
That's right. He's painting his figurines in his garage, just having a great time. And Joyce is showing up with a giant stack of books. And he, you just have this moment where he's putting up his garage door and you just see him in like these little shorts. It's hilarious. And his goggles that he was wearing, because they're like these little magnified glasses to paint his figures. And it's just a great shot. And I'm excited to see Mr. Clark back in the mix.
I always like to see Mr. Clark. Mr. Clark's great. He is a fantastic like side character on this whole journey. Yeah, and so because Joyce, with everything with the magnets and just weird stuff that she's been noticing around town, she's thinking, well, who do I go to talk about this, to get some real answers? And Mr. Clark is the first person that came to mind. So I think this just goes for painting Hawkins as like real small town.
That's right. Yeah.
Like who do I go to? Like, Hopper's the chief of police. He is like the authority on the law, right? Yeah. Who do I go to when it comes to science? I'm going to go to the best science teacher at the school. That's who I'm going to.
He's the brain.
Because
that's right.
he's the guy that's going to know that stuff.
Yeah.
Question: How does Hawkins actually, as a small town of this stature, get a mall? That's a great question. I'm not going to worry about that. We're going to suspend that side of things a little bit.
I know, it's so true, right? And then we're
so we grew up and didn't have a mall, barely had a stoplight.
Oh, we did not have a stoplight. The town we
had a flashing light.
Prides itself on no street lights at all. So.
We had a flashing light later, after we were older.
Yeah, that was later, and I guess it was always flashing, and it didn't really mean anything. So not really sure.
No, it didn't.
Yeah,
stop signs would have been fine.
Yeah. But then we're back with Nancy, where she is calling various places in the yellow pages from this woman's house, the Driscoll's house, and to see if others have also reported these rabid rats. And meanwhile, Jonathan is taking pictures of the rat, which now has been unveiled, and it looks absolutely insane. This rat is like tweaking out in the cage, and then it stops and lays down, and this rat is not looking so good. And Jonathan really wants to stay and see what is going on with this rat, which I get. I'm kind of in this scene, I'm sort of like, yeah, Nancy, like, let's hang out for a second. Something is clearly wrong with this rat. And Nancy is like, listen, we have to go. We need to leave, like, chase down this lead. And right after they leave, this thing explodes. And then it turns into this blob-like creature that is able to then exit the cage and like inch its way Slimer style scurrying across the floor. Oh, it's nasty. It's gross.
I don't know if that's really Slimer style.
Okay.
Slimer would have just floated through the air.
No, you're right. It's more like the blob. That is really what this is a nod to here. Yes. This is a nod to the blob. So it is just.
That's true.
Yeah, but it's slimy, I guess I'll say.
It is slimy. That's for sure.
Gross.
That is also true.
So, but then we're back with Billy, where he's in the Upside Down. So this is a flashback of like his memory again when he was in the Upside Down, and he's talking to himself, and they're telling him that they want him to build, but he's saying he doesn't understand what they're talking about. And then we're back with him in real time where he's working at the pool. Well, and he is getting
and then burned. It says, they say, build. He says, I want you to build. And he says, I don't understand. He says, and then they say, what you see.
Oh,
what does that mean?
Right.
Great question. Great question.
Yeah, what you see. But it's not good because he's like having these flashes, but he's actually sitting out in the sun.
He's still lifeguarding during this.
Burned real bad. Like his skin is getting all boiled up and blistered. It is looking really awful. And so he gets off the chair, finds his way into the shower. He's trying to take a cold shower, and he's having then just these extreme flashes of what happened, like these brain blips almost, and just tweaking out. And that's when this girl that he works with shows up, and she's like saying,
by the way, here you go. Yeah. This is his like support system.
Yeah, well,
he's got a girl at work that comes in, and he sees her say, "Take me to him."
Yes.
And then he's like, "What?" and snaps back out of it. And she said, "I said, are you hurt?"
Yes.
And so this is the one girl that has actually showed kindness towards Billy.
Yeah.
That's not I'm trying to date Billy.
Oh,
but just like are you okay?
I interpret this as just like stranger kindness. Like they work together, and she's just like trying to look out for someone. She's like, this guy looks like he's freaking out. What's happening, right? Like,
yeah. But like most of the time, the only attention Billy gets positively is like in the dating world.
Yeah.
That's it.
Mm-hmm. That's because that's where he turns on
person's-
the charm. He doesn't really care about anyone else. Yeah.
So this is where he sees like someone show him some kindness, and maybe it's just that stranger kindness, which I would agree.
Yeah.
And then of course he attacks the girl.
Yeah, because he's trying to fight back that hive mind, but it's winning at this point. He isn't able to resist it as he did with Mrs. Wheeler. And so
I think he cared more about Mrs. Wheeler than he did about this girl.
And I think it's just getting worse at this point too. He's been sitting out roasting in the sun. This thing is just now really like infected his mind. And
the shower is also hot, and therefore he's seeing these like black.
I assumed it was a cold shower. He was trying to cool
I would
off.
think it would be a cold shower too,
Yeah.
but then you see the veins like coursing through him.
Oh, yeah, it's getting
so
bad.
I don't know.
It's getting the black veins like we've also seen in Will, where he like it gets all crazy in an L. Yeah. So then we're back with 11. Trying on clothes. So we have like this really big shift from like Billy attacking this girl.
It is an abrupt change from Billy attacking the girl to 80s fashion show montage.
Literally Madonna Material Girl playing in the background.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll say this. I love this sequence here with the girls trying on the clothes. Mike trying to buy a little teddy bear that he finds out is $300.
Yes.
The girls like falling in heels, and then these other older girls like rolling their eyes at them, and then of course 11 blowing up an Orange Julius with her mind to get them all back.
That part was great. So they're kind of behind. Max and 11 are sort of behind this pole at the mall, like in the food court, and she's using her powers to explode this girl's soda Orange Julius, which I loved. Oh my God, in her face. And this, Eric, this was the same girl that turned down Dustin at the snowball. And I'm like, that's right, girl. You blow up that soda.
Oh, it's true. I didn't even think about that.
She was the one who was just snubbed him. So, you know what?
Yep.
That's fine.
Well, meanwhile, we've got the boys trying to find something, and Will's still saying, can we play D&D now? And they're like, no.
Mm-hmm.
I love this. I wrote down, this is 11's personality explosion.
That's right.
Like, this is where all of a sudden, after this sequence, her, like, ability to converse or her attitude changes.
Yeah.
And she just becomes more of a teenager immediately.
Yeah, she gets...
Because she's been in the environment.
Yeah, she's starting to get more of a sense of self and autonomy that she just didn't have or even know was a thing, right? Like, Max is kind of telling her, like, you can be your own individual. And that's what, you know, that's okay. That's good. So that is also what was so critical, I think, about her friendship with Max, is helping her get to that place.
100%. And that's why this is such a great parent.
Yeah.
This is such a great
Max
parent. Like, just to get...
embodies that spirit. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Gets Max to have a friend that she can rely on that's not Lucas.
That's right.
It gets 11 somebody that she can, you know, explore her own personality and sense of self with. It's great. Yeah. It's a perfect combo.
Yeah. And then we have Robin interpreting the tape, and Steve is serving Elle and Max ice cream at this point at the front counter. And he's asking, wait, are you even allowed to be here? And they just kind of giggle and run off. Yeah, I have written down here, Eric, and now, isn't this a nice surprise? And Mike is asking, what are you doing here? Oh, sorry.
Oh, because they run into him.
They go outside.
Yeah, they run into them at the bike racks.
Yes, this is where they go out, and the girls see the boys out there, and Max is saying, oh, well, isn't this a nice surprise? That's what it is.
Yeah.
And Mike is like, well, Yeah, what are you guys doing here? And 11 is just saying right to his face, well, why do you treat me like garbage? You say Nana was sick.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, we're here. We're shopping for Nana and for you. And she's like,
Lucas tries to bail him out too.
You lie. And she's asking, why do you lie? And then she gets really up close to Mike and she just goes, I dump your ass.
That is the best thing ever. That is the best moment from this well, I don't know. There's been a lot of good moments in this episode. Yeah. But that is so great. Where she doesn't quite have the lingo, but you know she knows what she's saying.
Yes.
And she's just copying what Max said.
Mike is just so taken off guard, too, because he's like, wait, what? Like, 11, where did she even get these ideas, like, about, dumping him and him treating her like garbage? He's just... Because Mike is totally new to this, too. He doesn't know what the heck he's doing. He's just trying to figure it out. These are kids. So it's a really funny exchange. But then I also love in this moment, too, Will in the background going like, guys, now can we play D&D? And Lucas is like, no. Yeah, no, we're not doing that, buddy. So... Hopper is then arresting these protesters who won't leave. So the mayor, I guess, is forcing his hand in this way. And I also love how
they're all like the one that we see him arrest is arguing like, listen, Jim, you know what's going on? Like, and he's like, listen, I hear you, man, brutal. But you got like, I understand you just got to do it within the right, context. So
I guess
I don't. You can see though how the police officers are put in very difficult spots. He has to arrest them because they don't have a permit.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that the cause they're fighting for isn't a real justifiable cause.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So they have to go and get a permit, I guess. And so he's just taking them away. And then I love, Eric, how he gets a shirt delivered to him.
Yes.
I'm thinking, what? Wow. Okay. I guess this is like the pre-DoorDash, Instacart.
Well, it's like
he's just getting it delivered right to him.
Well, this is like the office assistant at the police station who runs it up to him.
I know. I love this. Yeah. So, and it's so he can change for his date at Enzo. Well, the non-date at Enzo.
The not a date. Yes.
Yeah, the not a date that he needs a shirt brought to him. So obviously he's wanting to look his best. And now we have him at the restaurant where he's looking very Miami Vice, I would say. And he's ordering drinks and waiting for Joyce at the table. And he is waiting and waiting and waiting. It doesn't look like she's showing up because we then have this next scene with Joyce hanging out with Mr. Clark. Learning about magnetic fields. So I'm
that's when you go,
this isn't wrapping up. Yeah.
She's not going to make it. She's not going to make it. She's way involved in this magnet situation, and she's not going to go see Hop, who's sitting there with a nice bottle of Chianti.
Oh, the Chianti. Okay. Oh boy. Yeah. So, yeah. And Joyce is asking Mr. Clark, like, how is this happening at my house? And he's saying that, you know what, the most obvious answer is usually, that they knock them down, and at her work, she's just seeing patterns where there isn't one, right? And sometimes we do that, where all these weird things start happening, we connect them, but it's really just like correlation. There's no ties. So that's what he's trying to set as the initial thought process here.
And it is the most correct thought process, by the way.
That's right.
Is it possible that magnets got knocked off your fridge and also this one at work? Yes. That's the most reasonable, practical, likely explanation. But Joyce is well aware of the fact that there are not reasonable, practical energies out in this world.
Yeah. And he's also saying, right, there could be a machine that could do this theoretically, but it would be extremely expensive.
And it would have to be huge.
And it would have to be massive, but he's saying, anything is possible. So
well, right, like when you put into context, listen, we walked on the moon in the 60s. Like, we can do anything. It's just a matter of figuring it out.
I know.
So it's possible, but is it improbable? Yes, but it is possible.
Well, then we're back at Scoops Ahoy, and they've now decoded this message, and it's, the week is long, the silver cat feeds when blue meets yellow in the west. So they've decoded this, they've translated this message rather into English, but this is what we have. So Robin agrees that someone is trying to mask the true meaning of their message, obviously, and
Robin and Dustin are on the same page. They're like,
right.
Why would you speak like this if you didn't, if it wasn't a code? Like, we know our translation is right. So if the translation is right, then this is a code for something. Because who would talk like this? Nobody would talk like this. But they're also not going to say, hey, detonate the bomb at noon. They're going to speak in a code so that nobody said it out loud and everybody who knows the code knows what's going on. So she and Dustin are on the same page. Steve is not necessarily buying into it so much, but they're going, yeah, exactly. Evil Russians, like 100%. This is what's happening.
Steve notices the sound in the back of the translation, or in the back of this the words that are being spoken, and he's like, wait, that sounds really familiar. So they all go out to one of those like horse rides where you put the quarter in and the kid sits on it. I don't even know if these things exist at malls anymore.
I think so.
Yeah, but you put the quarter in, it plays music, the horse moves, and he puts it in, and they're like, what is he doing? And they're realizing this music is exactly the same as what is on that recording. So
and the horse was called the Indiana Flyer. So the first thought was, maybe they have horses like this all over the world. And Steve says, the Indiana Flyer? Unlikely. Like, this came from here. So now they're recognizing that the audio that they're picking up also grabbed this horse's audio as well. And so it came from nearby where they stand.
Yeah. But then we're back with Hopper, where he is calling over the waiter at Enzo, and he is attempting to leave with the bottle of Chianti. And Chianti is what he's saying. Oh gosh. And he's just saying, I can do what I want. I'm the chief of police. And he's just stumbling out wasted at this point. It's bad. And he bumps into this guy at the bar though, who seems to be watching him.
And we did see this guy earlier. We saw him.
That's right.
Well, we didn't really see him. We saw a guy walk out of the mayor's office holding this bike helmet.
Yes.
And then we saw, and while he did that, Hopper was sitting there waiting to see the mayor. Well, then we see this guy bump into Hopper again at the restaurant, almost as if he's watching him.
That's right.
So something is going on with this dude with the motorcycle helmet. Something tells me we're going to find out soon.
That's right. But now we're back with Billy in this closing scene of the episode where he is taking this girl's body. So this is the girl that he attacked in the locker room, and he's taking her body out of his trunk. And he is laying her down on the floor in that warehouse where he was dragged down to at the end of the last episode. And she is tied up and her mouth is taped. this is just so like terrifying for this girl. He's telling her, don't be afraid. I'm sure she's just assuming that she's just going to be attacked there by him.
I assume that's what she's thinking.
I mean,
well.
that, yeah. But she's turning her head because she's hearing something in the distance, and it is this giant monster coming out from the shadows, and she's screaming, and it looks like a smaller version of the Mind Flayer, like what we were just calling like the giant spider figure. It looks like a smaller version of that.
That's how I viewed it.
Yeah, creeping around the corner, and this thing is ready to feast. So it's like he brought her as an offering is sort of what's happening.
Yeah, it's a sacrifice. Yes. It is a sacrifice to the Mind Flayer for sure.
This is terrifying, and that's where we leave things.
That's how it ends.
Yep.
All right, now we're going to jump into our IMDb segment of the podcast where we talk about our ratings versus the IMDb ratings as voted on by you. We also mention our favorite and least favorite characters from this specific episode of Stranger Things. And I will start here. My favorite character in this is 11. And I don't pick 11 very often. I feel like usually 11 is always doing something exciting, but somebody else has had some better storyline. Yeah. This was a huge storyline moment for 11 where I don't think she did anything super poignant other than we saw her kind of blossom into a teenager.
Yeah. Yeah, she's just owning herself more. She's learning how to be an individual. I dump your ass, like figuring out how to be a real kid,
Her running around the mall, doing all the mall things with Max is awesome.
Yeah.
I love all of that. I love every single part of all those scenes. Yeah. Really, really like that. And they needed something like that in this episode to bounce off kind of the darkness of what's going on with Billy.
I like that. I like that too. It was, you had the two sides where you know that something really, really bad is about to happen, and it's all just coming up, it's bubbling up in the background, but meanwhile, they're running around, picking out clothes, it's like,
oh yeah.
It's great.
It's so good how this is done. And this is where I will go to my least favorite, which is the only piece of this story that I'm not a big fan of is the Hopper story. Mm-hmm. So I'm picking Hopper as my least favorite character.
I agreed with you there. Yep.
Not that. I mean, I appreciate him being happy that Mike isn't coming around today, but it's too much. It's
too much. Yeah.
And then he kind of gets stood up on this not a date that I'm never sold that Joyce was ever interested in going on in the first place.
I know. It was kind of rough for Joyce to agree to go out with him, and then even as a friend, just not show up is kind of rough. But I think obviously there's a lot of other stuff that Joyce just is intuitively knowing something is afoot, right?
Yeah. Yes.
But I agree with you there. I also picked Hopper. He was just way too thrilled about 11 being upset about Mike not being around. And listen, I get it. He mentioned something about how this is the first time in 6 months that they haven't seen each other, which is way too intense. That's a lot. Well, but they've also been through a lot together. So he is her only friend too, in a lot of ways.
When it comes to character development too, Hopper's a fairly one-dimensional character, one note. Right? He is protector guy.
Yeah, yep.
And in these episodes where they're building the story and they're trying to give him some depth behind just being the protector.
Yeah. That's
it worked in season 1. It worked in season 2. This feels like it's not quite hitting for Hopper.
Yeah, and that he just got so drunk at the restaurant too. I'm like, oh, this is just not a good look for Hopper. Okay.
Walking out saying, I can do whatever I want, I'm the chief of police. Okay. That's not a good look.
No.
The celebration with Joyce feels weird, especially since it's very obvious that she's still getting over Bob.
Yeah.
Like it's there's just a disconnect here.
Yeah. And he knows that too.
Where
so he's not.
He knows that.
Yeah, he's not pressing.
He knows that.
But still.
No.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he kind of did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. And I picked Max as my favorite character for kind of the similar reasons where it's like she's helping 11 come out of her shell. She is really such an important character at this point where, you know, if it wasn't for her, I think 11 would be having such a different experience. So I love that she, you know, got her to go to the mall and hang out and just, try to be a kid before we start to see some pretty dark stuff upon the whole town again. So, But Eric, I'm very curious about your rating of this episode. And I struggle a little bit with this because part of me, I'm like, well, it's so different still, but I enjoyed it. I really like this episode.
So without knowing what the Stranger Things audience has rated this, I'm going to buck the trend on like they go from low to high. Throughout. Like I said, that's typically how this goes. The first few episodes are low and then it's high at the end. I'm going to give this an 8.8.
Okay.
I love this episode.
Yeah, it's a good one.
I think this episode has so many things going for it. 1, Steve and Dustin meeting at Scoops Ahoy. Yeah. 2, you get Robin getting involved in cracking the codes and them figuring out that the Indiana Flyer horse is the music so that this all has stemmed from there. 3, you get Max and 11 and the fashion show that goes on and they're running through the mall exploding orange Julius's and stuff. Like, that's so great. 4, the boys are in scramble mode to try and make the girls happy, except for Will.
Yes.
And 5, I like the stuff that's going on with Billy.
Oh, me too.
I think all the dark stuff that's going on with Billy is leading to something great. And I love all of these components. The only piece I don't like from this episode is the protests.
Me too. Right.
And the like the date that's not a date. I'm actually okay with the Mr. Clark teaching about magnets because you know that's going to come into play. Like, it's all the Hopper scenes that make me go, ugh. Like, if you had taken those out, I would have loved everything in this episode. No, not a lot of action.
Yeah.
So it's probably not getting into the 9s.
No. Yeah.
And I won't be, like, again, it's very different for a Stranger Things episode, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know how well the Stranger Things audience will play in to this type of episode, but I personally liked it a lot. I'm giving it an 8.8.
Yeah. Yeah, I went, so the last episode I gave an 8.3 for opening up the season.
Yes.
And I'm going to give this one an 8.5 because I liked it more. But I still, it's like you said, there isn't a ton of action, but I really love, as we were talking about, that it's sort of, you have the kids just running around being kids, but then we also have the story of Billy so we know what's coming. We know something really bad is about to happen, but it hasn't happened yet. And I like that.
I did skip over the Jonathan and Nancy stuff in my like immediate breakdown. Like that stuff is okay. Because I connect those pieces of the story to the Billy part of the story. This is the Billy story.
Yeah, same.
Even though it was Jonathan and Nancy's scene, you know those rats are tied to Billy. So.
Oh, yeah.
Literally. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so you gave it an 8.5. Okay, let me pull this up real quick.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a feeling we're probably going to be on the high side.
I know I'm going to be on the high side. In fact, I can tell you, I am definitely on the high side. But the question was, how high on the high side am I? And the people have given this.
What are the people?
The people have given this a 7.9.
Okay.
And
yep.
I understand that. I understand that because
what was the last episode?
7.8.
How did
So
okay,
this is
so just
better
one
than the
notch higher.
last
Yeah,
one.
that makes sense.
It's
yeah.
I mean, it's definitely better than the last one. There's no doubt in my mind.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But
yeah.
I'm disappointed that it's not in the 8s. I feel like it should be much higher than that. I can understand the people who like Stranger Things watching this episode and going, especially the younger kids that like Stranger Things that might have voted on this, because to me, I think what resonates most with me when it comes to all the kids at the mall is like, that's a nostalgia blast for me.
Absolutely.
And
that's what we
kids who are, I mean, what? Anybody under the age of 20 doesn't really understand the mall in the same context.
Mm-hmm. Maybe even under the age of 30.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean,
yeah.
I was going to say like 16, but that's not true. It's way more than that. Like,
no,
it's like my kids are 13. They have no idea. So right. You're probably right. It's probably at least 25 years old. If you're 25 if you're out there right now and you're 25 and you remember going to the mall as depicted in this episode, let us know in the comments.
Yeah.
Let us know because I don't think that's true. I think it has to be older than that. I think you're probably right. It's more like 30. Mm-hmm. The mall was great. But if I go into the mall today, it doesn't look like the mall here anymore. These malls look look dead. There are a couple that are still like around and kicking, but I got some malls by me that are shells of malls.
It's different. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for listening to the We Run on Reruns podcast. Please check out our socials on Instagram, TikTok, and our YouTube channel. We really appreciate all the support you guys are showing us there, as well as on our website, werunonreruns.com, where you can check out full episodes of all of our podcasts in their entirety, along with finding them on Spotify, finding them on Apple Podcasts, and your other favorite podcast players. So for Amanda, this is Eric. Enjoy watching Stranger Things Season 3, Episode 3 this week. Happy rerunning, everybody.
See you later, guys.